writing this as a standalone narration script, pure content work, no code involved. Here's the complete script for the Phoneme Nobody Can Explain shorts, built around a real, still unresolved case in auditory neuroscience, Richard Warren's 1970 phonemic restoration experiment, and shaped to the channel's hook pacing retention template. In the fall of 1970, a psychologist in Wisconsin spliced a single sound out of a recorded sentence, and to this day, neuroscientists still cannot explain how the human brain replaces it with a phoneme that was never physically there. His name was Richard Warren. The sentence was ordinary. The state governors met with their respective legislatures convening in the capital city. Warren took the word legislatures, found the S sound buried inside it, and cut it out completely. In its place, he spliced in a cough, a real, audible human cough, occupying the exact gap where the sound used to be. Then he played the sentence back to a room full of listeners. Not one of them noticed anything missing. They heard the S, they heard it clearly, sitting right where it always belonged, with the cough registering as background noise layered underneath it, not replacing it, not covering it, existing alongside a sound that physically was no longer in the recording at all. Warren asked his listeners a simple follow-up question. Where exactly in the sentence was the cough? Almost nobody could say. Some guessed the wrong word entirely. Some insisted the cough happened somewhere else in the sentence, nowhere near the missing S. The brain hadn't just filled the gap. It had actively hidden the seam. The first theory was the obvious one, expectation. English speakers know the word legislatures. Brain, the thinking went, simply predicts the missing sound from context, the same way your eyes glide over a typo without registering it. A kind of educated guess filed in afterward like autocomplete for hearing. Reasonable, tidy. Warren didn't believe it and he set out to break it. He ran the experiment again, but this time removed the context. He fed listeners strings of meaningless syllables, no grammar, no sentence, nothing for the brain to predict from. The restoration still happened. He tried it with words where the missing sound wasn't guessable at all from what came before it. Still happened. Then he told listeners in advance exactly where the cough was, exactly which sound had been deleted down to the millisecond. It didn't matter. They still heard the phantom sound as real, physically present, indistinguishable from the sounds around it. Knowing the trick did nothing to break the illusion. That's not how expectation-based guessing is supposed to behave. A guess should collapse once you're told the answer. This one didn't. Here is the detail that still unsettles researchers decades later. When scientists later tracked the timing of this effect using more advanced recordings of brain activity, they found something that shouldn't be possible in a system processing sound in real time. The restoration doesn't happen after the missing sound's moment has passed, once the brain has gathered enough of the sentence to make an informed fix. It happens as though the brain is drawing on information it hasn't received yet, context that only arrives later in the sentence, sound the ear hasn't picked up at the moment the phantom phoneme is heard. The perception of the missing S seems to require data from the future of the sentence, folded backward into a moment that already happened. Your ear reports a sound to your consciousness before your brain has finished collecting the evidence that sound is supposed to be built from. Researchers have spent 50 years trying to close this case, and every explanation collapses somewhere. Memory reconstruction, the idea that the brain simply patches the gap afterward, and you misremember it as instant, falls apart under strict timing tests. The restored sound is perceived as simultaneous, not recalled. Simple top-down prediction fails because the effect survives even with meaningless, unpredictable syllables where there's nothing to predict. Masking theory, the idea that the cough merely obscures a sound that's technically still perceptible underneath it, fails because the S isn't there at all. It was surgically removed, not covered. Even sophisticated models built specifically to explain phonemic restoration can reproduce the illusion in a lab, but none of them can explain the timing problem. How a system limited by the physical speed of sound and neurons manufactures a sensation that appears to precede the information required to build it. What Warren uncovered was never really about a cough, or a missing consonant, or one sentence about state legislatures. It was a crack in the assumption that hearing is a passive act, that your ears simply report what exists and your brain simply listens. Somewhere between the eardrum and awareness, sound is being edited, invented, time-stamped to moments that haven't happened yet, and stitched so seamlessly that you can be told exactly where the fabrication is and still be unable to hear it. So the question nobody in 50 years of auditory neuroscience has managed to close is this. If your brain can construct a phoneme that was never spoken and hand it to your consciousness as indistinguishable from the real thing, how would you ever know how much of what you're hearing right now was actually there to begin with? Word count, 850. Let me know if you want the pacing pause markup added for narration or a different case swapped in.